All right, from a videographer, this is 1750 to 1900, part 3, section 1. 1750 to 1900, part 3, section 1. But before we get started, Ms. Fishnick should have handed you out the bridge questions for part 1 and 2. So if you don't have those yet, pause me, and then once you get that, then come on back. So we're going to start with that. Hello! Hi! How are you?
Am I here in time for the review?
Well, we're not going to do a review today. We're going to do something else.
But you said reviews are very important.
They are very, very important. You're going to have to do it at home. You're going to have to look at this at home. We have something else we need to do.
Okay. But you yelled at me last time when I wasn't here for the review.
I don't yell at students.
You made me feel bad.
Yeah, I do that, yeah.
Okay.
All right, now what are we going to do? We're going to practice bridge, being able to infer information.
What?
The AP test will not ask you any specific fact that you learn in my class. It is not going to happen. You know, they're not going to ask you who was one of the emperors of the Indian Empire. You know, they're not going to ask you things like that. You're going to have to be able to infer things. And we're going to just practice this and practice this and practice this. I've been contacted by a few students saying that the unit test asked nothing that was in the notes. Yes, everything was in the notes. It just wasn't asked that way. Oh, well, not that it wasn't asked that way. You have to take that knowledge and infer it at the higher level. This is a college class. You know, it's not just come back with the knowledge. On all the quizzes we have, the weekly quizzes, that's testing your knowledge. Do you have the knowledge? Now, you've got to be able to take that. I mean, you don't stand a chance on the AP test if you don't have the knowledge. But you have to be able to infer it, to use it. And we're going to practice this. So everybody gets the title says Bridge Questions for Parts 1 and 2.
Okay.
All right, number 1. How did the Industrial Revolution affect the role of education of children in England in the mid-1800s?
What?
What do you mean, what?
You never covered that. You never mentioned that one time. I call foul. Rebellion, rebellion, rebellion.
I covered all of it.
You did?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm about to make you eat your words.
Okay.
All right. How did the Industrial Revolution affect the role of education in children in England in the mid-1800s?
You said we didn't have to remember any dates.
You don't have to remember any dates. You have to remember eras. This era, 1750 to 1900. Now, you have to know what happened in that era, but you don't have to remember any specific dates.
Okay.
But mid-1800s. So when's the mid-1800s?
Like 1850?
Right. So how long has the Industrial Revolution been going on?
About 100 years.
Right. Very good. All right. The role of education of children in England, the mid-1800s. What are children doing in England, the mid-1800s?
I don't know.
I taught you this. Men, women, and children work in the factories.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. But that's not what you asked.
No, and AP won't ever ask that. You're always going to have to make an inference. You're going to have to infer. You're going to have to be able to make that bridge. So, what would be the role of education in England during this time period, during the mid-1800s?
What education? I mean, they're in the factories working. They're not in schools.
That's the role of the education. So the role of education would be little to none. They're not in the schools.
Oh, I get it now.
So see, you were taught that. You have to make the inference.
Okay.
All right, let's go to number 2. Why did employment opportunities for farmers decline during the Industrial Revolution?
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah, that's the easiest one of all these questions. Why did it decline? And by the way, students, write down, I left your area there, like on number 1, put down kids in factories, not in schools. So that's how the role of education affected the children. It didn't affect them. They weren't in schools anywhere. All right, why did employment opportunity farms decline during the Industrial Revolution? Why was it?
Because people left the farm to go work in the cities.
Well, what about food? How are we getting food?
Tractors. We don't need that many people anymore.
Very good.
That was an easy one.
Yes, that was the easiest. Number 3, how did Columbus affect a factory worker in Germany living longer?
What? You never mentioned German factory workers living longer.
Yes, we did. You got to make the inference. Now look what we have here. This is a tricky question. What era was Columbus?
Oh, 1450 to 1750.
That's right. What era are we in?
1750 to 1900.
So we're going to cross some time barriers here. And you have to be able to infer that. Okay, we got 2 different time eras in this question.
Okay.
All right, how did Columbus affect the factory worker in Germany living longer? All right, any idea?
None.
Columbus discovers America.
Right.
What else happens during the 1450 to 1750? What else happened then?
Discover America. You had the Mita and the Hacienda system. You had the Petro de Ocho. You got silver. All that stuff. Oh, you got like joint stock companies.
Right, all that stuff. Very good. And you've got it all in that era. Now think of some other things that's going on.
The Atlantic system.
Very good.
The Columbian Exchange.
What?
Columbian Exchange.
That's right. And what is that?
Food goes from the Americas to Europe.
Uh-huh. And if food goes from the Americas to Europe,
I get it now. Because Germany's in Europe, so they're eating more food, and that way they're living longer. And since everybody's working in factories, most people are factory workers, the factory workers are living longer.
That's right. That's right. You have that information. All right, let's go to number 4. Contrast human energy output in 1508 and 1859.
No idea.
All right. What was the energy output in 1508? Think of the era.
1450 to 1750.
Right. What kind of energy do they have there?
Just their bodies.
That's right. Maybe some beast of burden.
Oh, yeah. Beast of burden. Got that. Like the llama in the Americas.
Right. All right. Now look at the date. 1859. What's going on in 1859?
Industrial Revolution.
That's right. So contrast. That means how are they different? How is the energy output in the 1508 and 1859? How is the energy output different?
Well, in 1508, there wasn't much energy because they just had themselves and maybe a horse.
Right.
But in 1859, Industrial Revolution's been going on 100 years. It's going pretty strong. They've got all this, fossil fuel and steam powered and combustible engine, all that, so they could have a lot more electricity.
That's right. A lot more energy.
Okay.
Electricity hadn't quite come along yet.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. All right, you get the idea. You see how those 2 time periods are different.
Got it. This isn't so hard.
I know. All right, number 5. If you are a small, non-industrialized country in Central Africa and you happen to have oil underground, what is probably going to happen to you?
How would I know? I don't live in Africa.
Well, from the knowledge you have of everything that happened in Africa, if you are a country and you have oil, who would want the oil?
Industrialized countries.
That's right. And since you're not industrialized, that means what?
I don't know.
What kind of weapons do you have?
Bows, arrows.
That's right. Industrialized company have
guns.
That's right. So industrialized country's going to kick your happy bottom. And they're going to take your stuff from you.
How do you know that?
Because it happened all the time. It happened in South Africa with the English. It happened in the Congo with the Belgians getting their rubber. You know all of this. You have to be able to make that bridge. You have to be able to infer.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to part 2. Number 1. In the early 1750s.
Ooh, I need to remember that date, don't I?
Yes. But you don't need to remember dates, just what happened from the era. Which country would most likely control a smaller country that had vast amounts of palm trees?
What?
In the early 50s. I think, what's going on in the early 1750s?
The very beginning of the Industrial Revolution.
Right. All right, you know that. Okay. Which country most likely would control a smaller country that had vast amounts of palm trees?
Why would somebody want palm trees?
You know this. What were the palm trees for?
Oh, palm oil to lubricate the engines in the factories.
Right.
So is it Germany?
No.
What? France?
No. Look at the date. Early 1750s. What was the first country to be industrialized?
England.
That's right. So it would most likely be England that would do this since the date 1750. Now, if the date was 1850, yeah, it's a coin toss from all three of them. But England was the first.
Okay. That was a hard one.
Yeah. All right, number 2. Why was patriarchy more profound in India in 1878? That date's important, isn't it? Yes, it is. Than it was in 1694.
Ooh, right away we have 2 different eras.
Right. 1878. What's going on in 1878?
Well, that's close to 1900, so that's like the end of the Industrial Revolution.
Very good. All right. Now, what's going on in 1694?
No Industrial Revolution.
Right. All right. So why was patriarchy more pronounced in India? What's patriarchy?
The man runs the show.
All right. Before the Industrial Revolution, what was going on in India as far as money?
Ooh, the women. That's right, the women. They did all the cotton and stuff and did the sewing and sold it and had money. So therefore they had some prestige. They had some place in society.
Then what happened?
England comes along, takes them over, ships all the cotton back to England, makes better cloth, cheaper than what the Indian women could do. So then the Indian women lose their jobs. So then men become even more powerful because the women now have nothing.
That's right. Very good.
I'm getting better.
You are. Number 3. What is the most likely cause for the closing of many silver mines in the late 1800s?
Late 1800s. That's the first thing I look at.
Yes. What's going on?
Late 1800s, you're thinking 1870, 80, something like that?
Okay, good.
Ooh. No, I don't know.
What became the new monetary standard? What was it last unit?
The peso de ocho.
And what was it made of?
Silver.
Now, what's the new standard?
Gold. That's right. So that's why the silver mines were closed down, because it's not the universal currency anymore.
No, it's not. Gold is now the universal standard. Let's look at number 9. Why did merchants' income drastically increase from 1825 onward?
Okay, 1825. Industrial Revolution's been going on 75 years. Ooh, that means they're probably going pretty good.
Yeah, probably.
So they're creating lots of stuff.
Right.
Ooh, well, the factory sells it to the merchants, and the merchants jacks up the price and sells it to the people.
That's right.
And since the factories can make it so cheaply, the merchant doesn't have to raise the price much to make a profit, so a lot of people can afford it. So the merchants get rich.
That's right. All right. Number 5. In 1753, in Russia, what would be the most likely form of employment from the average Russian citizen?
What? You never?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Was Russia the first, towards the beginning or the end of Industrial Revolution?
End.
Look at that date, by 1753.
Ooh, that's the very beginning.
So what did most Russian citizens do?
I don't know.
What did all citizens do before the Industrial Revolution?
They farm.
So since it's before Russia becomes industrialized, what did most citizens do?
Farmers.
That's right. They were farmers. Very good. All right. Now, I got to go. I'm about to run out of time. We'll come on in part 2 here in just a second.